we're in this weird time in American culture where everything is being remade. Now, I am not always opposed to this. I just found out that in like a couple of days, a new TV show of the Mighty Ducks is coming out. Did you know this? I love the Mighty Ducks growing up. There's a new series with Emilio Estevez, which is coming out. Everything is getting rebooted, including what you're about to see, because Trump has something to say about the current state of the border that almost certainly, if he does launch a social media thing, which we're gonna talk about, run for office again, this is what he's gonna be running on. I want you to listen to this video and you tell me if it reminds you of anything.
Bringing the violence to our country, because many of the people coming are not non-violent people, they're violent people. Many of the people coming. These countries don't send out their finest, and in some cases, I'm sure you have wonderful, fine people, but you also have criminals, you have murderers, you have sex traffickers, you have a lot of very bad people coming into our country.
I mean, they're not sending their best, they're sending murderers. Hey, he mixed it up, it's sex traffickers rather than rapists. Because sex traffickers, that gets the Q people more riled up than the concept of rape. After all, they're very defensive about basically everybody who gets accused of rape. So let's move the rape to the side and focus on the sex traffickers.
Yes.
That's just like, when he called in to Harris Faulkner, or technically she called him.
No billionaire sex traffickers. Yeah, obviously, they're just the low level sex.
Low level, and keep it vague. No specifics. I don't want anyone to go to jail, but the concept bothers me. Anyway, like, so apparently Harris Faulkner called him. Was he going down the escalator while she called him? Because that was just his campaign launch speech again, almost word for word at that point.
Yeah, that he, I mean, he didn't do it right either. Like, if you're gonna do the hits, play the hits. But yes, it's very much like, what was it? Was it quack or flap? They go flap, flap, flap. Is it quack? Is it quack or flap?
Quack. It's quack, Francesca. Flap, flap, flap. That doesn't get kids.
Flap makes more sense. Flap makes more sense.
No, they quack. They're ducks.
Quack is very stupid. It should have been flap, flap, flap.
Maybe in the reboot, that's what it'll be. Anyway, was there a point you wanted to make, or do you just want to offend me deeply?
Yeah, the point was that it felt like he was doing that. Like he was like the reboot. You could hear it coming, you know?
Yeah,
the chance of flap.
I think the audience is probably very happy with it. Anyway, okay, so as we have been for weeks, we're gonna keep an eye on the situation. The numbers there are getting higher and higher. They've now had, like, okay, from one day to the next, you can't necessarily process thousands of kids, but you have had literally weeks. You have an agency that has received, like in the 90s, they were getting a crazy amount of money. And every year since then, they've gotten more and more money. The fact that they can't adapt to humans existing, that doesn't seem like a challenge that should be beyond their capabilities. But apparently as of right now, it is.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.